Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all. Best Robert Redford movie.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
You know, Hal, I'm glad that in that intro you clarified, because I didn't bother to ask when we said we wanted to talk about Robert Redford, whether we were going to talk about the best Robert Redford performance or the best Robert Redford movie. So I'm glad that we put it as, because I think there are movies that he is okay in that are great. And then I think there are movies that he is great in that are okay.
There are also movies that he is directed. I would throw movies he's directed in there that he's not even in.
Oh, don't you worry, Hal.
Okay.
We each brought our lists.
Sure. Yeah, this is amazing. I brought 4 just in case we had one that's overlap.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. If they overlap, that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we throw it out. Well, I'll just pile on. Robert Redford, who obviously we lost somewhat recently.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, which was when this idea came about. And I needed a little time to prepare because I am not as well versed in Robert Redford. He was never near the top of my list of stars. But in watching him, I'm glad I gave him a chance. He is very, very subtle as an actor.
Yeah.
Good at being a movie star.
Yes.
And was apparently very, very guarded about being a movie star. Like, he would not let characters show weakness. He would not allow, certain things. He would have final say on characters' actions and words based on, no, I'm Robert Redford, and Robert Redford doesn't do that. So he crafted this perfect old school Hollywood movie star. Yeah, there's some really fun movies in there.
Yeah, he was one of the last surviving Hollywood stars and came from a different time and sort of not suffered, but very similar to, obviously Paul Newman you would compare him to because they were kind of inextricably linked to one another. But I would say there's a bit of Harrison Ford to him in that Harrison Ford is such a star. He's Indiana Jones, he's Han Solo, that you overlook the fact that he's also a very good actor.
Yeah.
That gets put aside because you're looking at this larger than life person. Robert Redford was that too. But you could take movie star off of his resume. That could be the line that gets pushed out when you're making it one page. And you still have accomplished actor, producer, director.
Founder of a film festival.
Yeah. He's essentially one of the godparents of independent cinema in terms of, not that it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Before him, but the stage that he gave it and the care he gave it as a steward of independent film.
Yeah.
It's crazy to look at the career that he had and to try and pick just a few titles is challenging because there are so many. But for me, there were 4 that stood out right away that
really
I know what my favorite is, what I would put as number 1. I could actually order these 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, wow.
And it might be surprising if you saw what the list was, just because I think what a lot of people would expect to be number 1 is my number 4. That's all I'll say about my list. How did you go about you came up with 5. We both said 3. We both came with more. You came with 5. Why?
Well, knowing that we would have some overlap. I'm coming in with 5. I think 3 that I really want to champion, but I'm coming in with an extra couple that, frankly, I thought that I was making a guess as to what some of yours would be. So I was like, okay, there's a couple that I was like, I need to watch this one because I know this one is going to be on Hal's list. And then that went, so they all kind of jumped up pretty high on there for me. I went on a tear watching Robert Redford movies this week, but you had watched a lot of these before. You knew beforehand,
yes.
Are you a lifelong fan? What's your Robert Redford CV?
Was exposed to him at a younger age, and he was around in movies that I saw in the theater as a kid and growing up. And I've gone back and watched some, but not all. Like there's more to explore, but I've seen certainly enough to have an opinion, which we don't need that much. Before we jump into this though.
When has not being prepared ever stopped us from having an opinion?
It never stops me.
No, I know.
The number of times of an argument, like I'm putting out an opinion with nothing behind it. I will come back and go like, oh, you know what? You're right. I was completely I get overtaken by we're having this conversation. I'm into the sparring, which is something I get from my dad. Like the guy who loves to argue, the guy who in a movie theater is looking at his phone full brightness because he's in an argument on Facebook and he doesn't want to miss the opportunity to respond. I can't think of anything less worth any of our times, but here's my question to you before we dive into these. Do you think there's any topic, just off the cuff, where if we both had to come with a top 3, we would come with the exact same 3?
Ooh.
Can you think of anything?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is
I think so. Chipmunks. I think both of us would come in with Alvin, Simon, and Theodore.
And Dale. Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Wow. So there's going to be at least one thing different in the list. Do you want to kick off with your first entry?
Sure. I want to talk a little bit about, before we jump into the entries, I want to figure out Robert Redford. I've been trying to figure him out.
It's your documentary.
Sort of like, cause we want to see if we're going to find, the best version of him. Mm-hmm. If we're going to find the movie that is the best version of him, that is the best Robert Redford movie, I want to know a little more about him. One thing I think is fun to look at as an arcing thing throughout his career,
right,
is his views towards privilege via his performances, which I think is fascinating to me. Because if you look at The Way We Were, who does he play in that? He plays a waspy prep school kid who is richer than everyone else and writes a short story called talking about how his life has been easy and everything's been handed to him. Then you jump later to one of his directorial outings that is on my list, very much on my list. And you've got Ralph Fiennes giving a monologue about privilege and talking about how being an upper class white WASP kid has meant his life has been easy. He's played that character throughout. So I think that's an interesting hook to come from. I think it's also, we can't deny that he is impossibly handsome, this guy. And that has so good looking. And that has colored all of his work. Again, it comes back to The Way We Were and him talking with the director of that, lamenting that he was just a Ken doll in this movie. Mm-hmm. So there's that element to it. There's the waspiness. There's the super handsome. There's the subtlety to it. I think another thing that I noticed in watching because watching all of these movies in a row, it's easier to notice patterns. And I think he is at his best when his character is driven to a task and is very goal oriented. He's so good at that. I think All the President's Men is a perfect example of, I have a goal and I'm going to reach it. The Sting is a perfect example of, I have a goal and I'm going to reach it.
Yeah.
It's the ones where
The Candidate is kind of like that, where he's a young idealistic candidate for office.
Who also is a young, super handsome, waspy Ken doll of a guy who comes from a world of privilege for whom everything has been easy. So it's a crazy, like his myth, if we're looking at the like Sam Christensen myth of it all, I guess would be privilege.
I think there are also elements of power and control. Mm-hmm. Who has it? Who should have it? How much control does he have? Mm-hmm. And power, obviously, All the President's Men is a lot about that. I have other movies on my list that I would argue, and I don't have All the President's Men. It's not one of my.
No.
If I was pushing it to 5, that would probably have been the 5th one, but it is not.
Oh,
not
don't worry, we'll
them.
get to talk about it. It's on mine.
I mean, even the concept of playing Alexander Pierce in The Winter Soldier when he started to appear in the MCU, that is very much about power and control.
Yeah.
And who that character is based on power and control. That's one that has it and is trying to keep it and gain more of it. There are great versions of him. I think he's able to play both high and low status, which is impressive for a guy who is that good looking.
Say more about that, because I don't know when I've seen him play low status.
There are times where he plays a seemingly high status character who has no control, which makes him low status.
Yeah.
And I have one of those. I also have one where he is low status and rises not to a higher status, but just more awareness. He's growing as a character as he goes. He's like figuring out the game, as it were. But I would argue he's a low status character. He's the guy who, I'll use this first one as an example.
Okay.
This isn't my number one.
Okay.
3 Days of the Condor, where he is a low level CIA analyst who, because he goes out to lunch, isn't there when everybody in his office is murdered. And he has to enact this emergency protocol. He doesn't know who did it. He doesn't know what they're after him. He doesn't know who he can trust because they keep trying to call him in. And so it's this great paranoia. I think it's a Sidney Lumet. That's one of the Sidney Lumet and Robert Redford joints.
Right. They did 4 together, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously a great pairing, but he is a character that the paranoia in that film is so good. And he just doesn't know what he's doing. He's not an action star in that, but he's a guy who's as regular as you can be working in the espionage areas of the government,
right?
Who's all of a sudden forced to try and figure this out, if for no other reason than to save his own life, because he doesn't know where the bullet's coming from and who's firing it.
Yeah. Which happens a lot. That seems to be another big part of his myth is not knowing what's going on and figuring it out, which I guess is a lot of movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wait, what's happening? As a through line cinematically, his character is doing I mean, the number of times in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid that he or Butch say, who are those guys? Every time they stop to pause, right? The last thing they say before they get up to continue being chased is, who are those guys? Boom. Then they get up again for another, big chunk of a chase.
Do you have Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid on your list?
Here's the thing. I have one of the two. And like I said, I've got a list of 5.
Answer the question, counselor.
Do I have Butch? Yeah, it's on my list of 5. Sure.
Haha.
Yeah. It is.
I can handle the truth. I have it on there too.
Yeah.
Here's what I was going to say is even though he plays the tough, strong, silent character in that, but mostly he's like the silent, tough guy. Then they have that moment of vulnerability where he's like, I can't swim.
Yeah.
He's so embarrassed. Like they even find a time there for him to be lower status, which I think is that's a great quality he has that goes unnoticed because he's Robert frickin' Redford, right?
Yeah. Well, he does a great job. I think in that moment right there, I don't think that necessarily lowers his status. I think to me, it seems like that's him letting Paul Newman's character, Butch Cassidy, in. You know what I mean? That's him letting Butch Cassidy in a little bit. Yeah. And he does that with Catherine Ross as well when he's like, don't make a big deal out of it. And then she walks away and he grabs her by the arm and pulls her back and says, okay, make a big deal out of it. And then just really needs a hug in that moment.
Right. But that, I would argue that showing that vulnerability for that character is like a loss of power.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if people know I'm this tough guy, I'm a quick draw, I'm a great shot, I'm this notorious bank robber, what would everybody think if they knew I couldn't swim?
Yeah. And what would people think if I needed a hug?
Right. Exactly.
While we're talking about her, I would like to, just something that I noticed in all of these movies. Robert Redford is very good at being a stoic and yet still somehow wonderfully charming man with a $1 million smile. Obviously, like he is the quintessential movie star. I tell you what, he is not is great with women in any of these movies. He treats women terribly in every movie he is in.
Yes.
I was looking it up. I was like, and I found things that were like, yeah, he is not great with women on screen. Now, Out of Africa, I did not get a chance to watch because if you can have chemistry with any great woman, it is Meryl Streep. Because she's the greatest actor of our generation.
Oh, well, he spends the whole movie giving her the middle finger. He doesn't say anything.
Does he really?
She's like, what should we have for breakfast? And he just is doing this right in her face, over the shoulder, does the hand crank thing.
Inflatable, yeah.
Inflatable, absolutely. And then he
I didn't know
pops it and it flies all around. Yeah.
So in the end of the movie, does she find her power and ultimately give him back all of the middle fingers he gave to her?
That's right.
Okay.
One big middle finger. Yeah, no, you 5 stars.
Yeah, speaking of big middle fingers, I want to talk about a movie that is not on my list, but I'm dumbfounded by this movie. I can't figure it out. And that is The Way We Were. Because in The Way We Were,
really into that.
he is, I watched this movie and I was like, I can't tell if this movie is good or terrible. I know it was a huge hit.
It was what, 1979? Is that right? 78, 79?
Mid 70s, somewhere around there.
Somewhere in there. It's Redford and Streisand. It's 2 huge stars.
Yeah, who hated each other during filming.
Hated each other. You throw them in a movie together, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's that movie. I've never seen a more toxic relationship depicted on screen than in that movie.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Barefoot in the Park is not like the best relationship ever.
None of these are. He has no good relationships with women in any movie. All of his romances are bromances, usually with Paul Newman or Dustin Hoffman.
Right.
He's very good at bromances. Like he's a bromantic leading man.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. We have a great relationship with ad breaks, which we're going to take right now.
Good.
We've got 2 movies so far that are out here on the list. One of them is 3 Days of the Condor. The other is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That means
we haven't
4
talked
more
about
to be
Butch.
revealed. What?
Are we going to talk about Butch Cassidy?
We did.
We didn't talk much.
We'll talk about it more towards the end.
We just mentioned it. You said it's on both of our lists.
Okay. All right. Well, then spoiler alert on that one. We will talk a little bit more about Butch Cassidy and we'll throw out some more after the break. And then we will come to the decision of best Robert Redford movie once and for all.
All right.
Hello?
Hello, I'm calling on behalf of the Beef and Dairy Network podcast.
No, I'm sorry. No sales calls. Goodbye.
It's a multi-award-winning podcast featuring guests such as Ted Danson, Nick Offerman, Josie Long.
I don't know what a Josie Long is, and anyway, I'm about to take my mother into town to see Phantom of the Opera at last. You are wasting my time, and even worse, my mother's time. She only has so much time left. She's 98 years old. She's only expected to live for another 20 or 30 years. Mother, get your shoes on. Yes, the orthopedic ones. I don't want to have to carry you home again, do I?
Right, well, if you were looking for a podcast...
Mother, you're not wearing that, are you? It's very revealing, Mother. This is a musical theatre, not a Parisian bordello.
Simply go to MaximumFun.org.
I'm reaching for my Samsung Galaxy 4 as we speak. Mother! Mother, not that hat!
Have you been looking for a new podcast all about nerdy pop culture? Well, I have just the thing for you. Secret Histories of Nerd Mysteries.
Secret Histories of Nerd Mysteries is a weekly pop culture history podcast hosted by me, host Alston.
And me, host Brenda. We've already tackled mysteries such as what happened to the puppets from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Is Snoopy Mexican? And why do people hate Barney so much?
From theme parks to cartoons to 80s, 90s, and 2000s nostalgia, we tackle it all.
Check us out every Tuesday on MaximumFun.org and wherever you get podcasts.
Okay, let's talk about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. You can't talk about Robert Redford without it.
Yeah. I mean, he created the Sundance Festival based on that character. It's the one that made him a megastar.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful movie.
Perfect.
It is a perfectly beautiful movie. Stylistically, I think it is a beautifully directed movie. I think George Roy Hill in creating this movie and The Sting, which is also on my list. Yeah, this was the thing I was talking about. Which one of the George Roy Hill movies do I want to put on my list? That's my long list. It has both of them on it.
They're very different movies from one another, even though they star the same 2 guys.
They are, but there's some things in it that are so remarkably the same. One, they barely use music, which I love. I love that they barely use any music. If you watch Butch Cassidy, there's no music underneath any scene in that movie. Except Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, and then the weird, like, Dixieland that happens right after that. And then later on, that sort of bossa nova Bolivian music at the end when they're in the third act in Bolivia.
Yes.
So there's a couple of very specific moments where montages happen, but other than that, there's no music in it, which I think is really fun and cool. I love the structure. Like, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid has the old film as its structure. And then The Sting is set up like a play. They even show, like, they have title cards for each of the acts. They say, here are the players. They show a painting of comedy and tragedy masks. So I think there is a stylistic connection between those two.
Oh, for sure. Same director. So there's connective DNA, but they're very different movies. I would argue Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is an action Western with drama and humor in it. I would say The Sting is more of a comedy with elements of suspense and drama in it. And they will forever be compared to one another because same director and same two leads. Yeah. But they're very different movies and both like well worthy. Again, like it's hard to say top three, right? Because they're all, you just can't start. It becomes episodes like this sometimes feel like we're giving the acceptance speech at the Oscars.
Yeah.
He's like, the thing and out of Africa.
This is great. This is great.
Yes.
But I'll throw this out there. I think that for our purposes today, both of those are great and brilliant movies. I think for our purposes today, I personally am going to say that between those two, it's The Sting for me, because that's the Robert Redford movie.
Okay.
The other one feels more like a Paul Newman movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Even in the scene where Robert Redford is terrible to the woman in their triangle. I don't remember the character's name. Catherine Ross is the actor. But in that triangle, it's a scene of him being terrible to her and then Paul Newman being wonderful and charming to her.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but The Sting is Robert Redford's movie. It's his story. It's his motivation. It's his through line. And it's got one of the great endings of any movie.
Yes.
As heist movies go, it's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So far we have 3 Days of the Condor and The Sting on the list. Do you want me to go to my next one?
Yeah.
I gave myself a challenge to watch every Best Picture Oscar winner. So I hadn't seen enough of them. So I started working my way backwards from the movie that had won most recently. I can't remember what it was. Maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'm back in like the mid 80s now, but I jumped around a bit. And when I saw Ordinary People for the first time, it's one of the most impactful movies. It works. It's fantastic in 1981. It's fantastic in 2025 because it deals with trauma and families where you may have narcissistic parents. You may have two parents where it's like, these people should not be married to one another. Why are they all together? Why are they trying to be normal? Why are they trying to be ordinary people? And it's just great performances by Donald Sutherland. Mary Tyler Moore's maybe best performance of her career, which is saying a lot because the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Timothy Hutton won an Oscar for it. Well deserved. Elliot Gould is fantastic in it. It's such a good movie. I was bawling by the end of it. And you would think if somebody is a star, they would put themselves in it. But it's just so soft touch. It's different to me than any movie that Robert Redford made before it. Like in front of the camera. It's not like, I'm going to make the kind of movie I know. He took I think it's an adaptation of a book, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just the way he handles it is just perfect. It is a perfect movie. It is gut wrenching. And I had to put it on the list just because I wanted, number one, I love the movie. Number two, I think it's interesting to represent somebody like Robert Redford using a movie that he directed but didn't star in.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I have not seen Ordinary People.
It'll tear your heart out. And you should watch it. It's great.
I will. I too have one of his directorial outings on my list. And that's the one I mentioned before. And that's Quiz Show. I think Quiz Show is style wise. It nails it. I think he does again a great job of using who he is and his mythology to say, these are the power structures at work. The movie doesn't go after the individuals. The movie goes after television. The movie goes after television and advertising and American corporate corruption through the lens of a guy whose life has been too easy, who makes a decision to burn it all down. For me, I loved the movie when it came out. I still love it. I'm a Jeopardy fan, so I love a TV quiz show. I have filled out the form that they tell you when you have to fill out that form, they tell you the story of the movie Quiz Show by way of a reason that you are filling out this form and have to sit with standards and practices for an hour before you do the show. And it always begins with, I'm sure you've seen the movie Quiz Show. This is why. Yeah. But for me, Quiz Show, outside of it being just a really wonderful movie, the cast of that movie is, look, man, we're character actors. We know a great character actor when we see one. And this movie is a who's who of the great character actors of 1992. It's Shooter McGavin playing a hilarious game show host.
Christopher McDonald.
No, he's Shooter McGavin.
McGavin.
If you sign your autographs at Comic-Con as Shooter McGavin, you get to stay Shooter McGavin.
Good point.
It's got David Paymer. It's got Hank Azaria. It's got Mira Sorvino. It's got it's
Turturro. My God, as Herb Stempel? Come on.
Turturro as Herb Stempel in it. You've got movie, and I love that when Robert Redford, the star, directs a movie, he puts directors in the movie as actors. Martin Scorsese plays the head of Pharmaceuticals Inc.
Yeah.
And here's a little fun tidbit for you. There are people in this movie that have like one line that nobody knew who they were in 1992. Callista Flockhart pops in for one line. William Fichtner has one line in this movie. The floor director is played by Davey Wilson. Davey Wilson, who was, of course, the floor director at Saturday Night Live. Yeah. So it's all like, he's got all these little inside bits of television lore and history and little like Easter eggs throughout the movie. And I just think it's spectacular. So that's that's the one I'm throwing in for that. All right, give me your next one. Let's just do all four of them each. And then
do you think it's fair to say Butch Cassidy's in there? Because it's hard to talk about it without having that be a finalist.
Sure, we can put Butch Cassidy in there.
Okay. My number one best Robert Redford movie, my favorite, is one that I watch multiple times a year.
Mm-hmm.
It is probably one of the best casts ever assembled for a movie, where they're all leads with one another. Ironically, it's maybe the 5th or 6th or 7th best of one of the other actors, who's arguably the best actor who ever lived. It's 1992's Sneakers.
Before you...
did I ruin it?
You did, but that's okay. Wouldn't be the first time. That is the movie that I watched because I assumed it was on your list.
Oh, I mean,
because I was like, this is a movie about hackers that came out in 1992 when Hal was a teenager. It's this lovable band of misfits doing a heist. Your cast is David Strathairn, Sidney Poitier, Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd playing a bonkers character named Mother, a conspiracy theorist named Mother. River Phoenix is in it.
Mary McDonnell.
Who else is? Ben Kingsley is the villain.
Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, it's a stacked cast. Yeah.
Who said we wouldn't get caught, and who I might add did not. Come on. I can't remember lines like to a lot of things. That movie, I remember so many. And it is about hacking. Mm-hmm. That is true. There is an element to that. There's certainly a heist element to it, but it really is about the people, all these cast-offs. This guy who because he thought he luckily got away in the middle of an FBI raid, like one night in college, has been on the run ever since. That very few people know who he actually is, that he's got all these contacts in the KGB and all over the place, that and the way they pull off all of the different tasks is highly entertaining. Yeah. They all shine. It's really funny. And I would argue that he's the leader of this group, but that doesn't make him high status particularly. He's just as much of a kid as everybody else. And he's kind of maybe one of the more selfishly motivated. He's trying to clear his name, but also everybody's there with him. This is his family. He's got no life, but all these people are his family. And that the payoff at the end of the movie is fantastic. It's a 35-year-old movie now, 33 years old.
33-year-old movie. James
Earl Jones appears at the end of the movie and has the whole, I'll see what I can do. Like that whole scene is so good.
It's the Wizard of Oz scene at the end where each character steps forward and says the thing that they want.
Exactly. Everything they negotiated for.
Yeah.
A Winnebago, an agent's phone number. I mean, come on.
It's so funny. That movie is great. Fun tidbit about that James Earl Jones moment. In my long arc of this, that was one of the last ones that was the last of his performances that I watched. Mm-hmm. And early on, one of the early performances I watched was from The Sting. And The Sting begins, his first great heist movie begins, the inciting incident of that is when his friend and partner Luther is killed. Luther, played by Robert Earl Jones, father of James Earl Jones, who comes in for the denouement of his final great heist movie. So that to me was such a beautiful wrapping everything up in a nice little bow.
So good.
I love that movie. Is it too good a cast to be a Robert Redford movie?
Well, you said what's the best movie that he's in. So
That's
I would
true.
argue
Best
that we've
Robert Redford
widened the
movie.
scope of this. And I would argue it's also, it's his movie. He's at the top of the marquee.
Mm-hmm.
He is the lead as far as billing is concerned of that ensemble. He is the front man in that group. So I would say that it's great. Do you think it's the best of these 7 movies?
I'm going to throw one more in there because I haven't gotten to my last one yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not Sneakers.
I mentioned it before, but my last one is going to be All the President's Men. Because not only is that a brilliant performance by Robert Redford, it's a brilliant performance. It is both of them, Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford. Like I was talking about before, him when he has a drive to do something, when he has a very specific goal and he can channel all of his energy as an actor toward getting that goal, all of those subtleties that he does so well, you really know what every single one of them means. When we're on board with the goal he is aiming for, every subtle movement that he does, we know why it's there. And I think for me, that's when I can really grasp the skill. And also, I think it's just a phenomenal movie. Stylistically, it's cool the way they do it. Having the Newswire do the version at the end that, so many movies, true story movies have to do the super titles at the end of like the Where Are They Now? And the way they did that at the end of that with the Newswire coming through, I thought that was super cool. I love the way it opens. I love that the long shots of the two of them in the office together. One thing I love about Robert Redford in watching all of these is his energy. He can have chemistry with anybody because he can energy match every single one of these actors. I was like, wow, Paul Newman and Robert Redford have great chemistry. Then I was like, oh, wow, Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman have great chemistry. Oh, wow. And you go down the line and you're like, he and Sidney Poitier have great. Well, it's just because it's the world's greatest actors and Robert Redford knows how to energy match them beautifully. Yeah. So the two of them working off one another in All the President's Men. And aside from that, the fact that Robert Redford wanted to make this movie, it was 2 years after Watergate. It's a true story using all people who had just gone to jail. Yeah. Robert Redford did a bidding war for the book, won the bidding war, convinced Bob Woodward over the course of months to let him play him in the movie and that he would do a good job and be a good steward of this historical story that has really become like a historical document almost, this movie has. And that is all through just the pure tenacity and will of Robert Redford to get it made. So that's why that's my last one.
What a great reminder of how at one point newspaper reporting was just making 800 phone calls out of a phone book.
That's the thing. How can you make that movie is literally just follow up. It's just people doing inquiries and follow ups for 2+ hours and then Hal Holbrook smoking in a garage. And it is riveting.
Do you think their necks hurt from holding the phone up and be like, yeah. Well, do you have any comment on that? Like just over and over again?
Yeah. No comment is a comment. That was a non-denial denial.
Yeah. It's a great choice.
So has that been all of your complete list?
Yes, mine is Sneakers, 3 Days of the Condor, and Ordinary People. Yours is Quiz Show, The Sting, and All the President's Men. And then Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid gets a bye to the end because it's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Do you want to start eliminating these? Do you want to?
What I would like to do is I would like you to pick one of mine and I will pick one of yours, and those will be our final 3.
Oh boy. And along with Butch Cassidy, okay.
Along with Butch Cassidy.
So between All the President's Men, Quiz Show, and The Sting
and Quiz Show,
I would take All the President's Men because I think it's a really important movie.
Yeah. And from
although
yours,
it is like You know how, I know I've said this before on this podcast many, many times, but as we move forward in time, older movies feel longer. Mm-hmm. Like you probably make some edits here. That movie takes its time. That's one of the great things about it. But also, if you're an impatient movie watcher, maybe skip that one because you will pull all your hair out and bang your head against the wall waiting for things to happen. But it's not about things happening right away. It's about the build towards it.
Yeah. For me, I felt that way about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. After the, 40th minute in total in the movie of them riding horses, I'm yelling at the TV going, get a car! Use that bicycle that you bought.
I was going to say, you have bicycles. Use those. Bike.
Why is this? I mean, and they're beautiful vistas. The way that movie is shot, the whole first opening sequence being in sepia tone, and Western. Then them introducing the characters in that. And then when they first go out on the trail together, it all goes into full color like it's the Wizard of Oz. And then it's just them riding horses for 2 hours.
Stop robbing those trains and ride them. Steal a ticket.
Yeah, when the bad guys first showed up and were real fast on their horses, I was like, oh, these guys are screwed. They are just moseying through the countryside out here. All right, so we have our final three.
What'd you pick off my list?
Oh, I didn't pick off of your list. Yeah, I thought I did. I knew what it was. I thought I had mentioned it. Off of your list, I have to go with Sneakers. It's an absolute blast.
Of course you do.
Sneakers is a blast. Yeah. Oh, man. So it's Sneakers. This is where we got to try to be objective. Sneakers, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and All the President's Men.
You want to do a 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Ready?
See where we are. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Sneakers.
Butch Cassidy. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think, okay, so we'll eliminate All the President's Men. Hal thought it was slow anyway. Hal, I love you. Butch Cassidy was on both of our lists.
True. So was Sneakers. But you picked it to anticipate. You were like, I bet Hal will pick this.
I picked Sneakers because I knew that you would pick Sneakers.
What did you think? You watched it for the first time today?
Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
Honestly, my favorite part of Sneakers was not Robert Redford.
The end credits.
Wow. What happened in the end credits of Sneakers?
It was over.
Oh,
you finally done
come
with
on. I think my favorite moment, there are two favorite moments I had, and it's Sidney Poitier. One of them is Sidney Poitier. They're both silent moments from Sidney Poitier that are perfect in that.
The binoculars?
One is looking through the camera when the sex scene is about to start, and you've got the world's greatest actor trying to be like, ooh, I want to look at sex through a window. And you're like, oh, this feels so like, it's like watching Sidney Poitier in Porky's.
After chasing off River Phoenix, right? Doesn't he chase him off?
After chasing off River Phoenix.
He just very subtly like, hey, let me see.
The other moment is the look that he gives River Phoenix when River Phoenix has covered his face in black makeup in order to pull off their first heist of the movie together.
Oh, my Lord.
When Sidney Poitier just looks at River Phoenix and the look he gives them is in like 3 or 4 stages. It's a monologue.
Yep.
It is like, I don't want to put words to it. Just watch Sidney Poitier in that moment. It's one of my favorite acted moments of the movie. I think Robert Redford's great in it. I think but I think all the other people for me in that movie are swinging more for the fences with characters in a way that reminds me that Robert Redford always plays Robert Redford, which is not a bad thing. He's a movie star. That's his job. But David Strathairn as Whistler, absolutely brilliant. Ben Kingsley coming in and just chewing up scenery as this super dorky, ponytailed computer guy who just desperately wants for Redford's Bishop to be his partner again. That's all he wants.
Yep.
But again, my favorite moments from that movie are not Robert Redford moments.
That's fair. Well, people of the world, next time I say, let's go someplace like Bolivia, let's go someplace like Bolivia. Yeah, I know that's Paul Newman's line, but you get what I'm saying. It's sort of inevitable. It's an inevitability that the best Robert Redford film. And by the way, there are ones we didn't mention that you may be yelling at your podcatcher right now about. And that's what we live for when you're yelling at us and we can't hear you. I can't hear you. What? Speak up. I'm sorry. You getting into it. That's like the joy of this, of a great artist's great works. There's so many to pick from, but this one rises above all the rest. It really established who he would be for the rest of his career and opened doors for him to do all of the work that he did after. Plus, it's a perfect movie. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is the best Robert Redford movie. Is it the best Paul Newman movie? Who knows? We'll come back to that. But for now, this one is asked and answered.
That's right, Hal.
Thank you to Haley C. for the topic.
Yes, thank you, Haley C. And thank you to Robert Redford for all of the movies and all of the joy, and for that whole festival that has gotten so many great filmmakers out into the world. This topic is closed, but there are many more topics to discuss, so please reach out to us via email at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com, or
you can find us on social media at We Got This Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, The Lone Holdout at We Got This Show. You can also join our Discord. That is where we're getting all of these great topics, bit.ly/WGT Discord. We do have a Facebook group. We're not really there as much anymore. If you're there interacting with each other, I'm glad to hear that. But please come over to Discord too. It's worth learning and it's really fun. There are meetups being planned and you could be part of that. And also, most importantly, at the end of this area is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are at We Got This Podcast. On there, you can find every episode of the show we've ever released and tons of bonus content, live streams. It is all living there and well worth your time to give us a subscription so you know when we're dropping new content for you, because it's pretty much on the reg. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks, of course, to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thanks to you, the people of the world, with whom we would love to wander through New York, whether we are barefoot in the park or we are wearing sneakers. We wanted to be with you. You are the reason that we do this show. We wouldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without you. So to you, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody. We got this.
We got this.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows
supported
directly
by you.